CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin with today's reaction to the latest trade war escalation. The Prime Minister says talks will soon intensify with the U.S. after Donald Trump threatened new 50% tariffs on a wide range of Canadian products. With more, here's Judy Trin.
A source close to the government tells CTV News the Prime Minister was caught off guard by the announcement of new 50% tariffs.
I spoke with President Trump earlier this morning. We agreed to intensify negotiations in the coming weeks.
The tariffs will impact more than 500 additional products, from hockey sticks to wine to cement. That's about 5% or $28 billion worth of Canadian exports.
Only response to the way they've treated our farmers and our people. Canada's been very, very tough on us over the years, for many years, and no other president's done anything about it. I mean, in all fairness to them, they need us to survive.
The opposition leader says the new duties are unjustified and wrong, and is calling for all parties to work together to prevent them from happening. The Carney government has already made several concessions. It's splitting revenues on the Gordie Howe Bridge before it recoups the cost of building it. The Digital Services Tax has been scrapped, and the Online Streaming Act rolled back. But the Trump administration says irritants like the provincial alcohol ban and supply management in the dairy sector remain.
Things that do not fundamentally commit to resolve these issues, maybe just talk about them some more. And for us, we want them fixed.
Carney wants debilitating tariffs on steel, aluminum, and autos removed, and CUSMA preserved, but says putting U.S. liquor back on shelves will be up to the provinces.
The decision to change that, first and foremost, will be taken by the provinces themselves, each individually, and should only be taken, in my judgment, as part of an overall agreement.
Carney did not rule out retaliatory action, which a former Trudeau policy advisor says could be effective.
There are approximately 500 products that they are applying tariffs to from Canada, none of which are oil, none of which are critical minerals, the things that they know that if the costs of astronomically rise, that it will drastically affect their industry.
The Carney government will have less than a month to negotiate its way out of these new U.S. tariffs. They're set to take effect August 19th. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
London firefighters have ratified a new contract with City Hall, but negotiating their next agreement could start as soon as this winter. 97% of the Professional Firefighters Association voted to accept the deal, which pays a first-class firefighter roughly $125,000 a year, which is about the average for comparable cities. One outstanding issue will still go to arbitration: line-of-duty death benefits for retirees. The two-year deal expires at the end of this year because London firefighters have been working without a contract for more than a year and a half.
My preference has been in the past longer-term agreements. That's a function of where the parties can agree to get things done based on the time frame, and so this was what was agreeable, to get it a freely negotiated agreement, and both parties were comfortable with that.
Things got heated tonight when councillors debated Carfax potentially moving offices to Westmount Mall instead of downtown.
Downtown has a lot to offer, way more than Westmount does.
They're dissing other areas of the city?
Need everybody.
Think about it.
Go make them a frickin' offer, City Plaza. Like, if you think you have space downtown, then please engage with the applicant.
A policy currently prevents large offices from locating anywhere except downtown London. Farhi Holdings applied to expand the office space in Westmount Mall to accommodate Carfax Canada and up to 800 employees. The vehicle history company is currently housed at 100 Kellogg Lane. Council delayed a decision until Carfax officials provided more details on their needs.
I can tell you from my knowledge, a decision has not been made by a company on where to go in our city. And I don't think that's going to be made anytime soon, given the processes they're going through in the equity markets.
City Council spent more than 2 hours debating whether to explore hiring a City Hall deployed law enforcement team comprised of special constables.
I think our CIR team absolutely need backup. I have heard from them loud and clear. They need support in the field. Having those special constables will address a lot of the issues that they are experiencing.
The special constables would fill a law enforcement gap between London Police and bylaw officers. Councillors voted 10-5 to have city staff report back early next year with a plan. Special constables might be able to do basic traffic enforcement in school zones, support encampment removals, and enforce bylaws and trespassing on city property.
The vagueness of what we're putting forward is going to potentially breed all kinds of conversations between now and what we're hearing is next spring.
I would rather work on enhancing our security, but not convinced that this is the way forward.
What we have is a different type of option available to the municipality that could serve the community in a different way, in an enhanced way, in a number of different areas that our staff will write a report back.
A Western University researcher is coming out against development charges, arguing there are better ways to fund local infrastructure like roads and sewers. With more on what that could mean for new home builds, here's Brian Bicknell.
If you're buying a brand new home, you may be paying more than your share when it comes to development charges. That's according to at least one expert in how municipalities operate.
We say that growth should pay for growth. But I say everybody should pay for growth. We all benefit from it in some ways, and we all should share the costs of our infrastructure in our community.
Development charges, or DCs, are fees municipalities levy to cover the cost of infrastructure and other public amenities. In a report for the C.D. Howe Institute, retired Western professor Andrew Sancton argues municipalities should reduce their reliance on DCs and adopt models that spread infrastructure costs. That could include user fees or long-term borrowing.
City of London website, it boasts about how the cost of borrowing per capita has been going down. London has huge reserves and is still charging big money. The other thing that could be done is the cost of wastewater and water supply systems could be paid for through increased user charges.
In London, the development charge on a new home is a little more than $50,000, and that is paid up front by the developer when the building permit is issued. That $50,000 is then tacked on to the price of the new home. The London Development Institute has long argued for a system that places less burden on developers and new home buyers.
The benefits for a new fire hall, a new recreation center, a new park needs to be spread out to taxpayers across the city or the municipality, the City of London in this case, because we all benefit from development.
London's deputy mayor says reducing DCs means raising everyone's taxes.
I don't think homeowners are willing to start having a property tax increase to subsidize new growth build. If we're going to look at changes, we do, I think, have to look to the provincial and federal government to make that dedicated tax transfer.
And people say, well, why are houses so expensive? And people look at development charges.
Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
London police say they arrested one man earlier today who they say was walking around with a weapon in the city's West End. According to police, they responded near Hyde Park Road and Valletta Street around the noon hour, blocking off traffic. They say after a couple hours, the man was taken into custody with no injuries reported, and further details expected to be released tomorrow. More details are emerging about the lavish spending habits of some Ontario politicians. Records show the Constituency Association for the Provincial Labour Minister has been doling out thousands for luxury dining and experiences. John Woodward reports.
Years ago, Northumberland Peterborough MPP David Piccini could be spotted at events at a local pub in Port Hope. After he became Labour Minister in late 2023, records show something changed. Hospitality costs borne by his constituency association swelled from $12,000 to almost $50,000, buoyed by $1,800 at the Four Seasons, $2,000 at the conservative Albany Club in Toronto, $237 at the Antonio Park, a luxury restaurant on the 51st floor of the Manulife Centre.
These folks, they're living large.
A lifestyle, says Liberal interim leader John Fraser, that happened as Piccini gained control over $2.5 billion in a government jobs fund.
You see this gigantic increase in donations, which relates to the Skills Development Fund.
Piccini already facing an integrity commissioner investigation over whether he broke the law in giving out those grants, something he's always denied. The association's chief financial officer doubts Piccini was living large on donations from people trying to get grants.
I really doubt it. He's a pretty honest guy. I doubt if there's anything like that going on with David Piccini.
The PC's reeling this week after revelations former tourism minister Stan Cho's constituency association was spending thousands on trips and meals. Cho resigned after it emerged he'd spent more than $16,000 on hotels in Toronto, where he lives. More than a dozen nearby MPPs spent $100,000. The Premier says they'll repay it.
If you guys think for a second I'm happy about this, you're wrong. It's unacceptable. The Premier said, I deserve a luxury private jet, so I'm buying one. So everybody else is just following suit.
The Constituency Association records are kept at this Elections Ontario office on paper, something one watchdog wants to change.
All of that should be required to be regular disclosure online in a searchable database. That's what the internet's for.
Making it less likely that expenses like these won't be discovered for years. John Woodward, CTV News.
Organizers in Lambton County say a shipment of supplies is now on its way north, supporting people impacted by wildfires. With more on their grassroots campaign and how quickly they filled 2 tractor trailers, here's Sean Irvin.
The devastating images of forest fires engulfing communities in northern Ontario have touched us all. But for one Lambton County woman, the pictures sparked her into action when she realized that co-workers at another trucking auction depot were residing near the flames.
I do have colleagues currently working during the day at our company and then fighting fires at night.
But soon after an initial social media post, it became clear Lambton County wanted to do as much as it could to help anyone displaced by the fires. By Friday, a tractor trailer donated by Shriver's employer had begun to fill with contributions.
And then Saturday, right at 8 a.m., the container doors were opened and cars were coming in nonstop throughout the day.
One of the first groups to step up was a church community led by Heather Scully.
We were just all willing to do whatever we could to make sure that people had shoes and boots and sweatshirts for when it starts getting cool.
As they worked, the smoke from northern fires hung over Lambton County, yet no one was deterred.
We were just in awe of what happened and how that bin filled so quickly.
Despite the haze, the donations kept coming. A second truck arrived as the first left for the north.
So what? We're suffering a little bit of smoke. There's people up there in the thick of the smoke, and they've lost everything.
Now, with the second transport ready to depart, the call for help has ended. But Lambton County has a challenge for those looking to give surrounding London.
Well, this is the end of our 2 containers. However, we do recommend that people step up in their communities if they want to help. If you get the word out, the communities do seem to want to give back.
Near Petrolia, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
A collection of some of the finest remaining examples of the first ever mass-produced automobile has arrived in London. As Jerry Dewan reports, the Model Ts are in town for a whole week of events.
Seeing a Model T on the road is sure to turn heads and generate some smiles.
This is the car that put the world on wheels. This is the car that Henry Ford developed so everybody had a mode of transportation.
Brian Dowell brought this pristinely reconstituted Model T from St. Clair, Michigan on behalf of a friend. It was one of approximately 150 vehicles gathered on the Plunkett Estate in West London on Tuesday morning as part of the 69th annual Model T Ford Club International Tour. 15 million Model Ts were produced from 1908 to 1927, marking a monumental lifestyle change for many.
This was the first vehicle they would have ever owned. They were literally showing up at the dealership in horses and buggies and leaving with a Model T.
My dad bought it as a high school student in 1952. It was in a junkyard.
Eric McLeod's sedan was one of 2 Model Ts competing for the Stanosky Award, given to the most meticulously restored Model T of the year. It was going up against this 1909 touring model. Judges scan every nut, bolt, and cotter pin, even looking for original tools and manuals. The owners of these vehicles say mechanically they're not very hard to maintain or keep running. The passion goes into the restoration. Some take period authenticity to the next level, including dressing for the occasion. Nicolette and Joel Merlesmith came from Virginia.
You're driving around in vintage vehicles. Why not look the part?
Like so many others, the backstory to this vehicle is almost as interesting as the vehicle itself.
Some gentlemen were going to roll it down a hill into the dump, and he said, "Hold on a minute."
Nicolette's grandfather made the save, and the vehicle bounced from barn to barn, landing on the Merlesmith's property, just recently getting a new life.
It's sat in our barn for decades, and 2 years ago we started working on it. So it's now, actually, this is its first big trip.
A visit to the Plunkett estate also gave vehicle owners a picturesque spot to capture a memory of the trip. Philanthropist Steve Plunkett is a car enthusiast himself with a passion for Cadillacs. He felt it was a unique opportunity to be able to host the Model Ts.
It won't be back here again, so this is sort of a once in a lifetime.
The Model T tour started on the 19th and will continue until Friday. Jerry DeWan, CTV News.
Still to come, fosters to the rescue. The animals escaping Northern Ontario wildfires, finding refuge here in southwestern Ontario. That's later on CTV News. Trade tensions didn't slow down North American markets today. In Toronto, the TSX gained 409 points. In New York, the Dow added 385, the Nasdaq up 329. The Canadian dollar fell a fifth of a cent today. On commodity markets, gold gained more than $60 an ounce, and oil rose $1.86 a barrel. One of the key industries impacted by the new U.S. tariff threats is Canada's dairy sector, a market operating with strict protections. As Genevieve Beauchemin reports, it seems the Americans want those protections loosened.
Like 6 generations of his family before him, Angus McKinnon has produced milk just a stone's throw from the U.S. border. And he's been wondering when the American neighbors would target the industry.
We've been waiting for Donald Trump to come down on dairy for the last 2 years.
Under the current system, the tariffs will have little impact on producers themselves, though distributors might take a hit. But some producers have feared Canada's supply management system could be sacrificed to appease the U.S. Some critics in this country have said dairy should not be a sacred cow. The U.S. pointed to Canada's supply management system as a main irritant, justifying 50% tariffs, and put Canadian milk, lactose, and whey on the tariff hit list. Supply management sets quotas for Canadian dairy producers, fixes prices, but also limits dairy imports from the U.S. and other countries, imposing quotas and high tariffs.
Brings a great economic stability. We have a guaranteed price for our milk.
In a statement, the Dairy Farmers of Canada said dairy trade is covered by CUSMA, and the U.S. has been successful in accessing the Canadian market under this agreement. The association said that between 2019 and 2025, exports of U.S. products to Canada rose from $423 million to $1.06 billion. And dairy farmers say they're holding Ottawa to its word that supply management is here to stay. Canada is home to over 9,000 dairy farms, nearly half of which are in Quebec.
Quebec was built on agriculture.
Most are family-run with small herds. The state of Wisconsin alone produces more milk than Canada as a whole. But U.S. President Donald Trump has long said supply management is a highly protectionist barrier, treating American farmers unfairly.
You can see that he's positioning himself, because keep in mind, Middle America elected Donald Trump. Middle America is agriculture.
Milk producers will be watching closely over the next 30 days just what happens with the tariffs. Genevieve Beauchemin, CTV News, Quaticook, Quebec.
Good evening. Slight chance for showers overnight and first thing in the morning, but we should start to clear out by Wednesday afternoon. You'll notice temperature is much cooler, and we will have a northwest wind as we kick off the day. 14 degrees first thing in the morning. Chance for showers, although that probability will drop as we push towards noon hour and we're back into a mix of sun and cloud. Thanks so much, Kyle. I love this photo. Definitely, if you are heading out for a walk, you could be caught with some very light rainfall, but the trend will be to clear conditions. Coming up, I'll take you through the extended forecast. We will have some warming as we head toward the weekend, but temperatures on the whole will be a bit cooler over the next 7. I'll have all your local weather details coming up right after this.
Welcome back with Julie on the desk now. Looks like we're looking ahead to a cooler day. I know today was a day we haven't really seen many of those overcast days where it kind of was just the whole day. Cloudy skies over London.
Yeah, we had the showers and thunderstorms in advance of the cold front that moved through. Some torrential downpours in the area, some welcomed rainfall. I think I can even see the grass turning green outside. In terms of our weather forecast as we head through the overnight, still about a 40% chance of showers. Our high today 26, our low 20. The warm front came in early in the day and you could feel the humidity as soon as that front was through. Main rain was north of London earlier in the day and off to the east, and then this afternoon we got into the scattered showers and thunderstorms. That front has now cleared the area, the rainfall moving out with it. Temperatures overnight between 14 and 15 degrees. The skies will be mainly cloudy, and I mentioned just a slight chance for showers. As we head into tomorrow, we are expecting some clearing. The winds out of the northwest first thing in the morning. Early in the day, we'll see a bit of cloud cover and the slight risk for showers first thing in the morning. But by the afternoon, this cloud shield will start to move on out, and most of that cloud cover will dissipate as high pressure builds in and that dry air takes hold. So as we head into your Wednesday afternoon, we should be back into some sunshine after a cloudy start to the day. So as we take a closer look, you can still see a few showers coming through first thing in the morning, and that's why we have that slight probability first thing. And then by the afternoon, we should be into a mix of sun and cloud to mainly sunny conditions by sunset. But the winds will have quite a clip out of the northwest, 20 with gusts to 40. We could even see a gust reaching higher than that. The forecast high well below normal, but comfortable 23 degrees. So as we take a look at the next 7 days, as we roll into your Thursday, lots of sunshine holding at 23 degrees, 26 on Friday with sunshine, a mix of sun and cloud on Saturday. Temperatures will heat up over the weekend. By Sunday, we're at 29, but tracking a cold front Sunday that could bring some thunderstorms to the area. The temperature 29, but feeling like the mid-30s, so the humidity moves back in over the weekend. That cold front will clear it out as we head into Monday, Tuesday, mix of sun and cloud. Both days, daytime high 25 degrees. A slight chance for showers in Midwestern Ontario tomorrow. Temperatures varied across the area, a bit cooler towards the Wyerton, especially along the shoreline of Lake Huron. So temperatures anywhere between 20 and 23 degrees. Thursday and Friday, back-to-back sunny days. Friday, we heat back up to 25. The weekend starts with a mix of sun and cloud on Saturday. Risk of showers on Sunday, but over the weekend into the upper 20s. Cooling down Monday into Tuesday with the passage of a cold front on Sunday. Back into a mix of sun and cloud Monday, Tuesday. So still a slight chance for showers as we head through the early morning, but the trend will be to clear conditions out this afternoon, or rather through the afternoon, and the winds through the day tomorrow out of the northwest, 20 with gusts of 40. So expect that fresh breeze to last right through the day.
Thanks very much, Julie. Animal shelters across southern Ontario are taking in cats and dogs rescued from wildfires in the province's north. They don't have room for all of them, though, which means fosters have had to step up. With more on those efforts, here's Alexandra Hollick.
Hi, babies.
For this brother-sister dog duo, the road to safety was a long one. Ross and S'mores arrived in Guelph Saturday from a reserve in northern Ontario. Their community, one of dozens devastated by wildfires, forcing families to flee and in some cases leave their four-legged friends behind.
About 21 or 20 rescues across southern Ontario. Took in 112 animals in total.
Safe Paws Animal Rescue is part of a network of organizations giving cats and dogs from the north a second leash on life.
It really ranges what state they're in. We're expecting pregnant dogs, moms with puppies, young puppies, teenager puppies, adult seniors.
Part of the rescue mission is to offer temporary reprieve, placing the pets with foster families until it's safe to return home.
There's the other branch of it where there's the animals that are being officially fully surrendered by their families for various reasons, as well as the stray animals.
Vet teams are also on the ground in northern communities to microchip and vaccinate animals.
So that they're safe, so that if we move them to another humane society or a veterinary clinic, a boarding facility, anything like that, that they're well protected.
Protection extends beyond evacuation. Stacey Murphy is a registered vet tech with the Kitchener-Waterloo Humane Society. She says smoke inhalation from the wildfires is just as bad for pets as it is for humans.
If the air is not good for you to be breathing, it's not good for your animal either.
Urging pet owners to take precautions, especially during air quality warnings.
You know, if we're going outside with them, it's for short walks to come back inside pretty quickly, monitoring them for signs of respiratory distress and taking them to the vet if something seems out of sorts.
Hi, babies. In the meantime, while the smoky skies may have blown over in southern Ontario, A reminder of the raging wildfires lingers, knowing that many lives, including Ross and S'mores, have been forever changed. Alexandra Holick, CTV News.
Finally tonight, a decade-long search recently came to an end for a local man locating a piece of war history with a personal family connection. Scott Miller has more on the lost propeller blade now found and its new home.
On this day, 85 years ago, Andy Smart's uncle, Sergeant George Stevenson, crashed his plane in Scotland during a World War II training flight. After a decade of searching, Smart not only found, but repatriated one of the wooden propellers from his uncle's plane to the church he once belonged to.
The plane was completely destroyed by fire, with the exception of this propeller blade, which broke off. Okay, and the propeller blade was taken from someone in the Wanlugby village and put into a pub and hotel down there and hid for 4 years.
The wooden propeller served as an umbrella rack for years before Smart finally tracked his uncle's lost propeller down at a library in Scotland. He contacted the owners, who agreed to give him the propeller to display at the church his uncle attended every Sunday after moving to Meaford from Scotland in 1928.
When he was killed, it was quite a blow to a lot of Meaford people who knew him, and also to the church, his fellow parishioners.
While Meaford is a small town, it's an international town. We have stories that go around the world, be that with the propeller, be that with our glass here.
Now, the glass Father Bedford speaks of are 4 memorial stained glass windows at the church, made up entirely of stained glass fragments recovered from European churches leveled during World War II. The 4 memorial windows, made from thousands of shards of stained glass collected from more than 130 European churches, were unveiled shortly upon his return from war in 1946.
We have some of the oldest glass, by virtue of where it comes from, some of the oldest glass in North America, some pieces upwards of 700 or 800 years old. You can still, in fact, see the scorch marks from the fires that were inside the church.
A very special memorial service will be held here at Christ Church Anglican in Meaford to acknowledge the receipt of George Stevenson's propeller that somehow completes an already impressive set of memorials for Meaford's war dead.
They have pictures, they have stories, but now they actually have a piece of what he sacrificed.
In Meaford, Scott Miller, CTV News.
That's it for us. Thanks for watching. For all of us at CTV News London, I'm Carlyle Fiset. Have a good night.